there's always an issue in our society, and it's a valid issue. How early is too early? For example, you have teenagers that decide to have breast implants. Okay, they haven't even finished developing yet, and I think most of us discourage that. Okay, nonetheless, a lot of them,
I agree.
a lot of parents decide to gift this to these teenagers. How early is too early? This evening, we have a physician that actually I met at St. John's Riverside Hospital medical staff meeting. Very interesting person because I'm interested also, as we all are, in primary care, in aging and effects of aging. Of course, a lot of people specialize in geriatrics that do that, but all physicians have to address all the issues of aging, whether it's dementia or heart disease or other things that occur more often as we age. So it was interesting that I met last night at our medical staff meeting Dr. Sophia Din, who is a board-certified family physician and with many years of training and the practice of geriatrics in Westchester, New York. She is also trained in hospice medicine while following up with patients in our patient clinics. Over a decade ago, she retired from mainstream medical practice to pursue what we now call anti-aging concierge medicine. These days, we hear doctors use the term longevity medicine. Today, we explore the journey of an anti-aging doctor who, while seeking new pathways in the world of aesthetics, discovered anti-aging protocols. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Din to our program, and so we can hear of her work, and then I'd like to ask some of the things that I've been reading and ask her to comment. So welcome, Dr. Din, to our program.
Thank you, Domenica. That was very good to hear you, and I'm glad we met yesterday at St. John's staff meeting, and I'm
Dr. Din,
looking forward to a good show.
Thank you. Dr. Din, your real name is Sophia Din,
Yes.
but I understand your followers call you Dr. Juvanni.
Yes.
And you have also been seen to use your hashtag Botox Guru. Is there a reason you chose these names?
Yes, so that name is something that I use as a synonym, and I didn't want to use my own name for social media. So that's the name I chose for not just social media, but also my business. And the name Juvanni originates. It's a Hindi and Urdu name, which actually means youth. And since I was a geriatrician, and that's what my main area of expertise, I was the medical director of Sprainworth Manor Nursing Home. I believe, I'm sure you've heard of it. It's right here in Scarsdale, New York, and that's where I first started my journey into rejuvenation protocols and anti-aging. And so this name came to mind, and I just picked up because that's what I was seeking, because as I worked in the halls of the nursing facility, I realized how important youth is for people and how aging destroyed every single organ of the body, causing several forms of chronic diseases. And I saw the dark side of aging, how burdensome it can become towards the end of life. and how lame and just how lame are the medications that we just routinely throw at people, especially in the last decade of their lives, where we just prolong your existence without adding any quality. And that just drove me to with a passion towards something else, because I knew that was not the right answer, and the right answer was in finding a different path. And that's what started my journey. And I thought that Juvanni was a good name to follow, and that's and my business then progressed in a way where I there was so much new information that I had to learn, and but the thing is that I didn't want to use my personal name for the brand, and I thought that I'll just work for the brand.
Well, let me ask you, what is a med spa, and how is it different from an anti-aging office or routine medical office?
So when I started my journey, I was at first attracted towards just beauty and cosmetics, because I was getting older myself, just like any woman does, like around, I think I was 38, 39, and in your 30s, when the first time women are in their 30s, it's quite chaotic between career and childbirth and relationships, and I saw my body like just giving away, and that also kind of led me to, even though I was a very busy and successful doctor, I still saw that there were things that, despite me taking vacations and all the skincare regimens that I get my hands on, so I kind of got into the realm of beauty, and that's when the spas were coming on. So my first thing was to start my journey into anti-aging through the wonderland of aesthetics, and it's a very unregulated land, and there were a lot of spas that were popping up everywhere, and that's where I also started. So med spa is basically a spa where you have a medical doctor or a medical care or healthcare professional is available. So it could be a dermatologist. So initially these trends were started by plastic surgeons, cosmetic surgeons, and dermatologists, and then several other doctors like myself, like people who were in primary care, they started also saying that, okay, this is not, this is, it's not that difficult. I mean, we can also start learning, because it's very interesting. And so basically it's a spa, except that it's run by healthcare professionals. So that's the thing. But an anti-aging center or an office is somewhat different. That's something that I eventually became. So initially I was like kind of a med spa. I was offering just cosmetics, which were like, treatments for your facial rejuvenation and things like lasers and stuff like that. But then very soon I realized that beauty is like very...
Dr. Den, I'm sorry to interrupt. Apparently there's a caller already, and we'd like to put them through if we may, because we do this often in our program. People call in, and they call in from Louisiana, they call in from Florida, they call in from all over the place, and of course New York.
Mm-hmm.
If I may, I'd like to put them through. Tina, can you
Oh,
please
beautiful.
put in the caller? Hello.
Yes. Hi. Good evening, Dr. Mignone.
Hey, how are you? Good
Hi.
evening.
Good. Good. My name is Joe. I'm a registered nurse at out of the Yukon Health Dermatology Department. So we have noticed a phenomenon with Botox and fillers in particular of people coming in and using them at younger and younger ages. First, they try to use it. I think it's partially part of a trend in the culture at this point, but also I think they are also trying to get ahead of the aging process. So they figure that if they use the fillers and the Botox earlier, that they can delay the onset of collagen loss or also wrinkles. So my question is that if they start at that young of an age, is it beneficial or actually in the long term will it actually be detrimental and lead to more severe wrinkling or collagen loss in the future?
That's a very, very good question. Very good question.
That's
Because, I'll let Dr. Din answer. I have my own ideas on this, but let's have Dr. Din, who's our guest, address it.
But that's a great question, and people ask me this question a lot because of social media and our excessive usage of screens. It's like pretty much everybody's interested in their perceptions of self. However, so these medications, Botox and things like fillers, which he's mentioning, like mostly hyaluronic acid fillers, these are nothing but anti-aging medications that are injected under the skin to reverse the age of skin. These are not permanent solutions. These are basically, since they're medications, they have a duration of action, and they can last in your system for between 3 to 9 months average. Now, the thing is that what is a good point to start using it? Usually, I recommend to people that once your body has peaked, like you have achieved, like this is what you're going to look like. Mostly people achieve their peaks, women achieve their peaks earlier in life. Meanwhile, boys achieve with their peaks. And when I say a peak means your physical form and also your perception of self, where they align, where you like yourself, where you're like, this is me, and I look good, and you like yourself. That's your peak. And at that point, it's a good idea to start preserving yourself, and that's when you should start these medications. However, recently, as he's saying, that younger and younger people are interested in using these products, and they use the excuse that why let yourself fail before putting yourself back together. And there is a rise of the concept called prejuvenation, which means that before your body disintegrates, how to preserve it from disintegrating. And usually that is done very methodically by microdosing. And there are people, like I know people whose careers depend upon their perception of, not just perception of selves, but also a certain version of themselves. They use it. However, you have to be very careful. These are medications. They have to be used by people who are properly trained in their usage and have extreme experience in using them in all their different forms, because there are a lot of these medications that are now available even in the United States. So it's like cooking a dish of, a certain, because this is concierge medicine at its extreme, where your dose becomes the code of your existence and a particular version of self.
Well, he raised the question of, well, as you know, there's always an issue in our society, and it's a valid issue. How early is too early? For example, you have teenagers that decide to have breast implants. Okay, they haven't even finished developing yet, and I think most of us discourage that. Okay, nonetheless, a lot of them,
I agree.
A lot of parents decide to gift this to these teenagers. How early is too early? As you know,
I disagree with, and one of the things that I always stress upon when I speak with people is to, avoid surgery and cosmetic resection or dissection of your skin or any organ for as long as possible. Your skin is like a fabric. It is the most, it's not just the largest organ of your body, but it is represented in your brain. I have a theory that your brain carries the code of your skin even when you're as little as a few cells old. So cutting your skin is should be avoided unless it's an emergency or unless your skin has failed. As an organ, when as you go through time and gravity, your entire body goes through aging, and at some point it gets slow and breaks down. So does your skin. However, skin failure is not taken, seriously as much as it should, in my opinion. And then many times we don't have good solutions, at least not for the past, in the last 2 decades. A lot of new solutions have come about, but before that we didn't have great solutions for it. And mostly after skin failure had happened, people would go and had to find a surgeon and privately get it fixed. But still, there is no reason why surgeries need to be performed on very, very young people, and that's why your counsel is very important. The people that you choose to be your advisors are super important, and you want to make sure that people are, this is not considered an a la carte treatment. It's like, cosmetic procedures should be regulated too, to some extent.
Yeah. Well, the question is, what are the long-term effects of it? That's, I think, what our caller is asking.
The long-term effect of prejuvenation, well, what the long-term effect of prejuvenation, I don't see. I do see kids who are using them in their 20s and in their 30s, but I would not recommend it for somebody who's a teenager because they're not grown enough. However, the Botox and fillers have been used to correct deficits. Basically, it's like, what is a filler? It's the inner lining of the padding of your skin. So if your skin has lost, for instance, these days people who are on GLP-1 agonists such as Ozempic or Wegovy and who have lost a lot of weight, they, that's like they end up losing the inner padding of their face. Now, that padding can be now replaced non-surgically. So if somebody decides to, take care of some structural defect or whatever, that's different. However, body dysmorphia, which is a completely, different problem. It's like a psychiatric problem. Mm-hmm. Now, that is something that it should never be treated in the halls of aesthetics or through shots. But I don't mind people trying to preserve themselves because they're, taking care of themselves. These medications are nothing but preservatives of your versions of self. But can they be overdosed? Yes, we have to be very careful and we have to understand them better. They're like, nobody needs a lot of times our life is too busy for us to have like a 12-step skincare regimen, but this is like a tiny medication that will help you just keep your skin young, youthful. And you can like stay. So basically the concept is of anti-aging is that how we haven't been able to stop because aging is happening all the time. However, what we've done is with the advent of some of these medications and their appropriate usages, that we've like slowed down the impact of time and gravity upon your body and your psyche. One thought of behind anti-aging is that as your skin fails, it falls, and as it falls, it also drags your psyche down with it. And so that's where eventually your brain perceives itself and its aging and the onslaught of time through looking at it by looking at itself.
Interesting. Well, it's used, hyaluronic acid is used in many different forms. You can use it by mouth, you can use it by injection, you can put it there are a lot of creams that contain it. It's even used in OBGYN to relieve, vaginal dryness and pain in menopausal women. So there are a lot of uses for it.
For which medication? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Hyaluronic acid.
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
We do it. So basically, I actually would tell people that your human body has two faces. One is your public-facing face, where you meet the world and how people recognize you. But there is another face, which is your pelvic face, and that is your private face. And hopefully, that you only your important people will get to see in your life. However, both those faces need maintenance, and hyaluronic acid is used for both those faces.
Yeah. Well, so I'm sorry, the caller, Mr.
Yes.
Joe. What exactly was your question again? Has this been addressed, or?
Yeah, for the most part. And then another question, a follow-up question I just had was also once they get started, especially at a younger age, as they start using maybe fillers more, especially with the lips. The lips have become a big trend, especially in people, like you were saying, as young as teenagers. Once they stop that, does the elasticity of the skin, is it lost? Once those fillers kind of deflate after those 9 months that they might be good for. So at that point, then, would they have to continue using it just to maintain some semblance of the shape of the lips or the skin at that point, or would the elasticity, are they young enough where the elasticity of the skin can make it taut again?
That's such a great question, and thank you for asking it. This is also a very important question. Again, I would say that it is very important to find a skin tailor that is not going to over-inject you, and that's not going to change the shape of your face. Because sometimes what I have seen and what I'm very much against is when people overdose. So when you're over-injecting the lip, it is going to, basically it is you putting excessive padding under the skin. And sometimes when the lips get overfilled, they just stretch because the skin is going to stretch. It's just like developing too much fat in any area, the skin will stretch. Since these are just medications, at some point they're going to wear off. And then will they create wrinkling and crinkling in that area? Now, for a lot of people who are wealthy, they will probably be able to go to somebody who has a skin tightening machine. So then they go to the machines and tighten the skin, or they have to just keep filling. Otherwise, it starts looking as if, it was stretched beyond its capacity, and then now it's crinkling up. But yes, it's treatable. It is something that can be reversed, but it costs a lot of money to do it correctly and to do it with somebody who has the skill and the devices to assist them. Also, the hyaluronic acid fillers are dissolvable. They because they're created in they're lab grown. Use an enzyme called hyaluronidase. That is something that will just melt them. But yes, you're right. They can, overfilling it chronically will lead to people, young girls looking deformed. That's all. But again, who you pick as your injector is very important. Somebody who has a sense of being respectful to somebody's face, and not just selling the medication because it's available to be sold.
Thank you for addressing this issue so thoroughly, because I know it is a big trend in the younger generation. So this is very informative for that generation that might not know, as much, and instead they're just looking to their peers for advice in this situation. So thank you very much, Dr. Din, and thank you very much, Dr. Mignone.
Thank you very much, and thank you for calling in.
You're welcome.
Yeah, for the listeners, and I'm sure Dr. Din will stress this, hyaluronic acid is considered to be essentially a safe medication with proper use. However, improper use, especially when it's being injected, can lead to severe complications, and it can even lead to death. So
absolutely,
it should. Yeah. So please, listeners, whoever's listening, try to, if you're considering it, first of all, see a qualified professional, healthcare professional.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. And like having a good injector who is completely licensed and has the malpractice and is obtaining these medications in United States is very important, and you must not go to somebody's basement to get it done, because I see that sometimes, because these are considered beauty products, meanwhile these are not just any beauty products. These are medications that are injected under the skin, and they are, if somebody is not aware of your facial anatomy, and they insert these medications in, for example, your blood vessels, it can cause severe necrosis. And for instance, if somebody injects it under your skin, and these medications get inside a blood system and cause a blockage in that supply, and they do not possess hyaluronan, the enzyme to melt it, it can lead to catastrophic results for whoever undergoes that process. So very tremendous care has to be taken when you are placing these super important medications, because not only they can result in physical deformity, which would be completely not what you wanted, but also they can mess with your perception of self. So if somebody is trying to fix your body dysmorphia with these medications, they are not going to help you at all. These are not to be played around with. So make sure you go to the best of the best And I know it will cost money, but then, that you want to be with people that you could trust, who are not
That's a very
going
good
to,
point.
guide you wrong. Yeah.
Dr. Din, we apparently have another caller. I'd like to put them through. If Tina would put them through, that would be wonderful. Hello?
Hi. Hi, this is Elizabeth, and this is a fascinating topic for me because as a 50-year-old woman, the aging process is happening rapidly. So I find the topic of Botox really interesting. However, I do have a question. Is there, if you start getting Botox, is there a certain time frame that you have to stop after? If you're getting it, let's say, after 5 years, is it dangerous to continuously get Botox, every 4 months for a period of time?
Thank you. That is a wonderful question. And so Botox is a medication which is currently being utilized to halt and the aging of your skin. Meanwhile, in the meantime, you are still aging, so you're going to experience that aging. So this is something that is completely up to you. If you don't want to age, you can currently now halt certain parts of your skin from accelerated aging, and you can always change your mind and let yourself age and let yourself, see what lies on the other side of skin failure. However, this is basically to prevent the chronic skin failure that is happening all the time, especially when women get into their late 40s and early 50s. They are going through a phenomenon known as perimenopause, which is basically your body pausing for little bits of time where the hormones just get completely dysregulated. So aside from you going through time and gravity, a few other factors also jeopardize the skin's content, and that's when you can face accelerated aging. So these medications will basically halt that process for you and slow it down considerably, which will make your perception of self and other problems, that are simultaneously happening with your body a lot easier to handle, in my opinion. Now, at what point you want to stop it? Usually, just like any other organ, when it's failing, for instance, when your heart fails and you're experiencing high blood pressure or any other kind of problem, those medications have to be taken for the rest of your life. So similarly, this medication is for certain parts of your visible and your public-facing face. And I recommend them in moderate to micro doses for the rest of your life if you could afford it. One of my dreams is that at some point to see that this medication is approved by insurances and people can use them at their doctor's visits.
That would be amazing.
Botox also has many, many, many uses. It's like Viagra when it came out. It failed as a antihypertensive medicine.
Yes.
Then it became used for ED.
Yes.
But then it came used also in infertility and the pulmonary edema and so on. So it has many, many different uses. Same thing now with Botox. We use it in migraine.
It's like a meat tenderizer, I say. I tell people that it's like a salt which basically relaxes your muscle. It's a muscle relaxer. So by relaxing the movement, we don't want to halt that movement. we want to just relax it. Basically, by relaxing that movement, not only the scrunch is relaxed, but also sometimes um, by relaxing that, your blood flow, your lymphatics, everything benefits from certain relaxations. And sometimes the neck movement, it just creates a very good, not just an aesthetic feel to your skin and facial aging, but also just it just creates a good flow of blood and lymph around the face.
Yeah, I think I'm not a cosmetologist. I dabbled in the idea years ago of offering Botox and some of these other medications, laser hair removal and so on. In fact, I did laser hair removal in my office when I was doing OBGYN. Then I didn't pursue it because I was doing more, operative gynecology. But probably at a certain time, and it's always case by case, you have to go to a skilled person. You might have to combine, Botox with fillers as you get older. I suspect. I think that's what would eventually need to be done.
Yes. So Botox is like a meat tenderizer, and tell people that Botox is like salt in a dish. You want very little and to taste, but if you add too much in the dish, it's gonna ruin it. And so once you put the salt in, it's very hard to take it out. So Botox is something that, if you overdose on it, you're going to be like frozen for a while. And we see people all the time who have been frozen in time. And we don't want that, because anti-aging doesn't mean that you have a frozen face. Anti-aging means that all your systems, all your muscles, everything is moving and is in flow. And you're not like frozen, and to keep the functionality of everything alive.
Yeah, I think at a certain age, it's not just Botox might not be the only solution. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Because the thing is that the fillers, hyaluronic acid fillers, are the internal padding of the skin also gets worn out,
right.
And basically you lose it. Just like anything else, like even if you sit on a couch after 7-10 years, it might need like a repadding. Similarly, your skin and the underlining needs, especially around the high movement areas, for instance, around your mouth, sometimes under the eyes. There are certain areas where the skin moves and folds all the time, and that's where we like to put some padding back, because you don't want to lose the architecture of the face. And we've seen that as we do it regularly in certain calculated doses for patients, it just prolongs the quality and life of their facial architecture.
Yeah. I think, Ms. Elizabeth, what you have to do is probably consult one of these a very good, very responsible, medical professional that does this, that not only gives Botox but also does fillers in a judicious way.
And by the time you're 50, one very important thing that I always recommend women to consider doing is also skin tightening. And we do have now energy devices which are FDA approved for non-surgically lifting and tightening and firming up the fabric of your skin, which usually people need like once or twice a year. They can be a little bit expensive, but they allow you to experience the version of yourself that you want to stay with for a while longer. And those are also, so when you go to, like, let's say a dermatologist or a cosmetics, I don't want people to go to the cosmetic surgeon as the first step into the world of aesthetics, because I just feel that when you go to a cosmetic surgeon, they just start dreaming of cutting you. And, if you want to wait, they'll be like, yeah, okay, we'll wait until you fall apart and then we'll cut you. So I want tell people that as a first step to always seek a non-surgical solution for yourself, and for that purpose, go to a dermatologist, go to any other physician who is well versed in it, and is not just one or two trick artist. It has done the work and has trained in several different energy devices, including lasers and tightening machines, and also the Botox and fillers. And we even have like things like PDO threads, which are polydeoxycholic acid threads, which are basically surgical sutures that are placed non-surgically to just give a little bit of more tightness and firmness and structure to your skin non-surgically. So go to somebody like that who can give you the resources to conserve and preserve whatever you're fond of in yourself. And the one other thing that I always recommend to all women is to try the supplements and make sure that you're on point with your supplements, especially as you're hitting your perimenopause and menopausal periods of life.
Well, Dr. Din, what kind of supplements specifically are you speaking about?
So in my practice, I like to use high doses of very potent antioxidants like vitamin C and glutathione. We do things like MIC, which is methionine, inositol, choline, which act like a liver cleanse. These are all water-soluble vitamins and supplements that are completely safe. They're, we introduce them into your system intravenously, and that just makes sure that their bioavailability in your body is 100%, and it's like a wash through for your skin and hair. Basically, the supplements that I have are carefully curated to help you with hair, because hair restoration is a very personal interest for me. So, I do it for a different reason. However, these supplements are very important for perimenopause and menopause for women. So again, B12, B complex. We give these days there are so many different cocktails that are available, and you will find that pretty much every doctor who works in the realm of integrative medicine or wellness or health will have their own concoction and cocktail. Mine is very much curated for skin and hair, but there are people who are doing very good things with it for arthritis, for fibromyalgia, and these are all natural. They're considered natural remedies. However, these are medications. Again, they're considered, even though they're vitamins, they're treated like medications, so we get them compounded by certified pharmacies compounding pharmacies in the United States, so they're completely controlled, and they're injected by doctors, at least in my office. But I know that there are nurse practitioners and PAs who offer this as a wellness thing. Listen, when you get sick and you go to the ER, and they're going to give you a bag of just plain fluid, and it's going to cost you $1,500 or at least $1,000, depending on which emergency department you're going to. One of the trends that I know is here to stay and has helped countless people over the last decade or so, and is it's not finishing. It's here to stay. is the infusions, and people are going to find that this is something that will also, that I think currently it's not covered by any insurances or so, but I do feel that this is something that should be offered in pretty much every doctor's office.
Well, there are a lot of infusion centers around, even for the medications that we could get. Because of Medicare, for example, they're able to bill like hospitals, and in the doctor's office, we cannot do that. We don't even get reimbursed enough to cover for the medications.
So that's why we can't do it. But I don't think that insurances will ever do it, because these infusions are like, if your body was like a car, these infusions would be like an oil change and balancing of your internal chemistry. So insurance, health insurance in the United States is like car insurance. They only cover your disasters and your diseases, and when you're super sick, and you will still have to pay a deductible. Similarly, just like your car insurance is only going to cover your accidents, and it's not going to cover your internal cleaning or oil changes or anything, because they don't care, and they want you to buy a new car after a few years. However, as far as your body is concerned, there's no new body. This is the only you're born with a certain body, and it will last you until it doesn't. So taking care of it is supremely important. So why should an infusion be only covered by insurance when you're on the death's door in an emergency room? People should do this as a routine, but I get it that why insurances are not gonna understand for a lot longer than I don't think I'll be super happy if insurance starts covering it tomorrow, because it will help so many people not fall sick.
Well, as far as there, I know in Italy and elsewhere, people are taking hyaluronic acid by mouth.
I am not. So there are several schools of thought, and what my research has shown is that the gut biome, as you get older, and especially in your perimenopause and menopausal states, when your body is no longer producing fresh hyaluronic acid, the reason it's not doing all this production is because your gut biome, by the time you're in that age group, is just as jaded as you are. It's old. It's not going to open up its doors to new little particles and carry them all the way to the skin. And your skin, in the realm of your body, suffers the worst trickle-down economics known to human body. Shit just never gets to it, like that you eat. So hyaluronic acid pills, which are basically like a cow collagen, is not going to go anywhere. It's like a pill that probably has like 200 calories that you're just taking, and it's just going to make you maybe gain a few pounds, but it's not going to do anything to your tiny wrinkles. And if somebody says that it did something, I've never seen any appreciable difference. And I tell people that, if you have to eat 200 or 300 calories, try to go eat a nice steak.
Okay. Now, what about, obviously diet is important. I mean, I think that's one of the first thing people have to do.
Oh yeah, there are few things that are like naturally that you can, like, if I always tell people that people ask me all the time, they're like, is there anything that I can do for free? And I say, yeah, you can hydrate for free. You can make sure that you follow a good sleep hygiene schedule. Make sure that you exercise and move your body. Make sure that you eat real food. Make sure you stay away from toxic substances, people, and places. And toxic substance meaning things like smoking, things like alcohol, things like whatever is food laden with preservatives. So and toxic people and places, like whatever is causing harm to your psyche or body is bad for you, and you should try and avoid that. And these are things that we have to do as a constant. A few hundred years ago, our ancestors were not using toothbrush. So one of the biggest inventions of the last century was the toothbrush, and how it now we take it for granted that we're going to brush our teeth a couple of times a day. And similarly, some extra things that we are finding to be useful that has increased the human lifespan, we are going to start using them and recommending them, and we'll hope that this is going to just improve the quality of our life as we start living longer lives.
Also, the previous caller really wanted to know about Botox and fillers. What's the difference? And I think you had explained it, but she wasn't clear on it.
Fillers is a different kind of medication. Fillers is for those creases around your face or wherever you intend to use them, where the padding of the skin needs to be fixed. So if some area has just lost the inner lining. For instance, sometimes fillers, the most popular place to use them is around the mouth, because mouth is constantly moving. So this is an area where we don't want to freeze your muscles or relax your muscles, because we want you to be able to speak and smile and talk and eat and chew. However, those areas, as they move, these are dynamic. These muscles, they will create creases and folds, which will need at some point some filling, and that's a different kind of medication, which is hyaluronic acid. So since Botox is like a muscle relaxer, but filler is like basically a little more superficially placed right under the skin to fix the padding of your face. Because this padding loss happens when either you've gone through extreme changes in weight, or you have been sick, or you are now in a perimenopause or postmenopausal state where your body is no longer producing the collagen replacement. So you start noticing a gradual decrease in the content. So at that point, yes, they can be placed. These are not forever placements. This is something that your body will use again and again. So usually people need them in very tiny doses, once or twice a year.
Anyway, we've reached the conclusion of our allotted time. I would like to thank you very, very much. I hope you'll come back soon so we can speak more about this topic, because I know a lot of people are interested, both women and men. and thank you again.
Thank you. All right. Take care.
Okay.
Take care, Dominic. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.